Okay. I'm sorry for the delay. Actually, I'm from Medina Munawwara giving you this lecture. And in Medina Munawwara, Alhamdulillah, we are moving to the new university building. So hence, we have some technical issues, but Alhamdulillah, it is sorted out. And that's why there was a late of 10 minutes. Okay. And we are sorry for the delay, inshallah. Okay, fine, inshallah. Just give me 5 minutes, inshallah. I will share the screen with you and we will start our class, inshallah, in 5 minutes, inshallah. Okay. Students, did you receive any email from the BCC, Ms. Malak Al-Amir, regarding today's meeting? هل جاءكم الإيميل من ملك الأمير بالنسبة للمحاضرة اليوم؟ راح يكون من 2 إلى 6. ما جاكم الإيميل. طيب طيب يعني to be يعني just to be. Sound is low. Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Sound? Okay. So you did not receive any email from the BCC. يعني ما جاكم أي إيميل من ال BCC بالنسبة للمحاضرة اليوم. طيب 1 minute please. طيب is the sound clear now? Okay. طيب today we were planning to have a class from 6 to 8, but I think since you did not get an email, I mean, sorry, I'm not from 6 to 8, 2 to 6, 2 to 6 يعني من الساعة 2 إلى الساعة 6 المغرب. So what do you think? No? Okay. There is a huge no, I think. 2 to 6. 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 2 to Okay, you have another class from 4 to 6. We cannot go too long. Okay. Okay, Lama, don't worry, inshallah. And as we have a class M109, and some students has class M109. So I think we'll just wrap up till till 4 o'clock, inshallah. We'll try to close it till 4 o'clock, inshallah. No, there is no revision. I just want to cover this JavaFX basics as you see on the screen. Can you see the screen? LMS page on the screen. No, I think we will take it later. After this meeting, after we finish JavaFX, we will take recursions. Mahmoud Tariq, we will take it later, inshallah, recursions. Osama, we will not have 2 to 6, inshallah, we'll have just from 2 to 4, as some of the students has a class from 4 to 6. Inshallah, we will see an extra meeting, inshallah, this week if possible, on Wednesday. يوم الأربعاء ممكن ناخذ الإكسترا كلاس نكمل هذا الميتينج 8 و 9 الجافا اف اكس. أسد سليم إن شاء الله TMA discussion إن شاء الله في الميتينج إن شاء الله. المهم شيء احنا نحتاج الميتينج 8 meeting 8 9 to look for to solve first we try to finish JavaFX, 5x. After that, we'll go for revisions for the TMA, for midterm exam. I don't think so that you will have the MTA exam. I'm not sure. يعني ممكن ما هيكون الميدترم الاختبار النصفي، ممكن هيكون بديلها الواجب أو home assessment. يعني لسه ما متأكد. نشوف إذا في اختبار ناخذ الريفيجن. We will take revision also. That's why we are into here in this meeting. This meeting 8 and 9, and voice is cutting in between. The voice is clear to you. Okay, students online, the voice is clear. Okay. Okay. Fine. If there is any disturbance, please let me know. If you find there is something cutting in between, let me know. Inshallah, we will see it. Okay. So let's start our meeting today. It's about JavaFX basics. In this meeting, we will discuss, inshallah, the graphical user interface, GUI, graphical user interface. For now, the objectives of this meeting is to make you aware about how you create an user interface by using the user interface controls. Those are buttons, text boxes, labels. Any user interface nowadays, you see the graphical user interface has text boxes, buttons, labels, and all. So hence we're looking here to create how to create a graphical user interface in Java. Okay. So in this one, we are going to look into the interface using panes, using UI controls, user interface controls, shapes, and all. We're going to discuss about layout using the layout of the nodes using the panes, stack pane, flow pane, grid pane, and all. Creating user interface by using buttons, labels, text field, text area, checkboxes, and radio buttons. So we'll see how to create buttons, how to label the buttons, how to create text fields, text area, and all. Displaying a text using a text class, creating a shapes like lines, circles, rectangles, and all. And to get the taste of event-driven programming in Java. Okay. How to describe event source, and event classes, what is an event, and how to use this event-driven programming in Java. About the events and all, inshallah, we'll have another class for this part, events and all. But today, inshallah, we'll look into creating the graphical user interface. Okay, that inshallah is today's objective of this meeting. Let's start. JavaFX is a new framework for developing Java graphical user interface programs. It's a new framework in Java. Previously, there was called Swings, and there was packages called Java AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit, and we had packages Swings in Java that is used to create the graphical user interface. But now we have this JavaFX, a new framework, and this FX made the the graphical user interface programming more easy compared to AWT and Swings. The first was AWT, which was later improved with new features called Swings, and now it is replaced by JavaFX for developing rich internet applications. So with the JavaFX, you have more features, especially to develop the internet applications. The graphical user interface programs, basically it includes visual components like buttons, text boxes where you type some text, drop-down menus, and areas for displaying the results, labels, radio buttons, checkboxes, many more. These are called user interface controls. User interface controls. So today, inshallah, we are looking into creating user interface by using this. The basic structure for JavaFX is that it is an application, fine. Then in the application, there is a start method that you need to override in your class. Then there is something called stage, scene, nodes. Okay. It is like a stage play or a drama play. You know the theaters and the stages where there is some drama play, or there is something. Excuse me 1 minute, please. Okay, so here we have three things. We have a stage where the stage is set for any scene. Okay, this scene will be on the stage, and then there will be nodes, that is like buttons, text boxes, and all for these stages. Okay, so if you want to look into these examples, we have these examples, the live examples here. Okay, we can check these live examples to see the stages and demos. You can see the live example code over here. Fine. So let me take you to the first one. So you can see that there is an application here. Okay, that is just come from JavaFX application class, and we need to import, of course, the scene class, the control class. You can just say control.star, because from here you take many different components. You take text boxes, text area, you take labels and all. Fine. Let me open your NetBeans for you. And we try to put this code here in the NetBeans, just to check how the things are working. Okay, now here you have application and you have a stage here from the stage package. Okay, now here you need to import these things. Of course, your class must extend Java application, and this has to override the start method, which take a stage object as an argument. In this start, you can create button. Then you need to create the scene, and inside the scene you need to set the button. Then you set the title of the stage, set the scene on the stage, and call the show method. Okay, call the show method. Fine. So now let's create a new package here, Java application, M251 this code. Meeting 10. Okay, just let me just copy and paste the things here. And put put this in the class. Okay. Now this must extends application. Okay, that overrides the start method. Fine. So very simple. Where we create a button here. This button is created with the text on it. Okay. We set the button on the scene. We set the title. Then set the scene on the stage. Okay. And call the show method. Display the stage. Fine. Now from the main method, we need to launch. We need to call the launch method. Launch with the arguments. This will launch the whole application. Fine. So let me save this and run for you. This will display a graphical user interface with a button on it. Fine. So you can see that when I click this one, there is a click over here. So you can see the whole button covering the whole area. So basically, whenever you create these objects, you put it on it, it will cover the whole area. But how to reduce that area, how to put more objects on it, we'll see in the coming slides. Fine. So this code, wherein which you have an application class, you have a start method which takes an stage argument, create a button, create a scene object, put the button in the scene, then set the title of the stage, set the scene on the stage, that is the scene object what you have created, call the show method, and from the main method you need to call the launch method. Fine. So with this you will get it on the screen. Okay, what is 200, 250? This is the dimension or the size of your application. You see that 200 by 250. Fine. So if you increase this one, let's say I will make it like 400 by 500, and you can see a bigger one as you see this one. Okay, so this is the dimension of your frame. Okay, so now let us understand things here. JavaFX must extend the application and override the start method. It must extend the application and override the start method. Okay. Yeah, it is the number of pixels. 400 and 200, these are in pixels, number of pixels. Fine. Excuse me 1 minute, please. Okay. The next is, a stage is like a theater. As I said, it is a window for displaying a scene. So a stage is created to display the scene. Now a scene has actors. If you talk about like in reality, theater or a stage, then on a stage you make a scene that has actors, right? So every actor is placed in its position, in its place. Fine. So, so a stage object is called a primary stage, which is automatically created by JVM when the application is launched. Don't worry, it is not Corona. By the way, you are online. We need to take more precautions. We need to stay at home, take everything online. Okay. May Allah keep you all safe and happy. May Allah help us to get rid of this big issue in the world. Fine. Coming back to our lecture. So a stage here is a theater where window for displaying a scene, and a stage object called a primary stage is automatically created by JVM when application is launched. A scene is an object which is created by using the scene class with the node on the scene. This is the actor of the scene with the width and the height of this scene. Then we need to place the nodes, the actors that perform on the scene, okay, and which can be buttons, text boxes, panes, groups, and all. Fine. So here it says life asks like, so the stage is a window or a window that we have multiple stages. See, it is a window on the application. Fine. So it is a stage object which is set once on the scene, as you see here. Fine. So it is one stage on the application. That stage can set the scenes. You can set multiple scenes on the stage. Okay. It's clear live. Okay. Now talking about the nodes, okay, and the actors on the screen. A node is a visual component like the buttons, text boxes, or any group of buttons or panes or any other shapes like circle, lines, triangle, rectangles. Fine. The shape can refer to any geometrical shape. A pane is a container class that usually we use to place the components, the UI components, because whenever we put something in on our state, like for example on this we are putting a button, okay, that's an OK button on the scene. Fine. You add new buttons to this, it will be placed over. Okay. So we need a pane here to organize the components, because any graphical user interface will have text boxes, will be buttons, radio button, the other type of components, checkboxes, labels, text boxes, and all. So we need to place them in a proper way, in a proper fashion, right? So there comes a pane. So a pane is a container class which is used for automatically laying out the nodes in a desired location and size. A group is a container that groups a collection of components or nodes. You can apply transformation effects on the groups. Okay. A UI control refers to labels, buttons, text boxes, all other graphical user components. To build a graphical user interface, first you need to create a class that extends the application. So as you can see on the screen, this class, as you see on the screen, has extended the application, So you can see also here, it will be more clear for you. So my JavaFX is the class name, extends the application, right? The first thing. Second thing is that override the start method in your class. So which is in this way: public void start, stage, primary stage. It takes a stage argument. Okay. So we need to override this public void start, stage, primary stage, and inside this we are going to write all the things. Fine. The third thing is create your nodes. Like for example, we create a button here. OK button. Fine. Then place the node in the scene wherever you want with the size of the scene. OK. Set the title. Set the scene on the stage. Set the scene on the stage by using set scene. It is stable. You can use primary stage or any other name here. There is a question here, Llama. It says, is the stage, primary stage, is it stable, or we can change it? See, stage is the name of the class. This is an object name. You can name it whatever you want here. Okay, I'll just say, like, for example, PS here in this case. If I say PS, so here all it is PS for me. So it is name of the object that you can use it. Fine. Okay. Then we set the scene. We set the title of the stage. But you can set the title of the stage. Fine. Or you can say, for example, in our case, we'll set my first GUI application. Okay. Then place the scene on the stage. Place the scene on the stage, that is this one. Okay. Set scene. So we call set scene. Then display the stage. Display the stage. Okay. Now, after displaying the stage is ready to display. Fine. So what we need to see this? To see this stage, the next step is that write the launch in the main method to run the application, because the program execution will display on the screen. Fine. Yeah, it is same like print. The display, this one set title will display it on the screen. Okay. So now let us see with few changes in our program. You see the title here. My first GUI application. This is the button on it. Fine. So you got the basics of this program. What are the basic things you need in this program? Is it clear to you all? The procedure to write the graphical user interface application. How about other students? Is it clear? Any doubts, any question till here? Okay. Fine. We have seen the output. This is our output. Fine. Now, note that the display button is always centered in the scene and occupies the entire window. Now you can use a container class called pane for automatically laying out the nodes in a desired location and size. So this means that to place this button in some small size and in some particular location, we need to use the pane classes, that is the container classes like panes. Okay. What you need to do is that place the node inside the pane and then place the pane in the scene. What we are doing here is that we are putting the button, that is the node, inside the scene, right? Don't put the node here, put the pane here and put the button inside the pane, So how it is? It's very simple. We can see here button in pane class. What we are doing? We are creating a pane here. Fine. Then we put the button inside the pane and we are going to add the pane here. We are going to add the pane here. For this you need to import scene.layout. Scene.layout. We have different type of panes. Fine. Different type of panes. So what is happening here is that stage, scene, on the scene, a pane. Inside the pane, the nodes, that is the buttons and text boxes and all. So you bring another pane, a pane is like a place on the stage, on the scene, okay, where you can put the characters, you can put the actors, or you can put the components. Fine. So there are different panes here. You have the flow pane, you have the grid pane, border pane, horizontal box, vertical box, stack pane. Fine. Different panes are there, which is under a pane class. Fine. Under a pane class, which is, it comes under parent or scene. Okay. So simply you can just call the pane class. Fine. We also have a binding property. Binding property is that you can bind one object with another object. We can bind one object with another object. That is called a binding property. Okay. So here we can use the binding also. Fine. So not going too much into the binding option. Just look into the panes. Fine. So panes, we have different panes. We have the base class pane, which has get children method, which will get what are the nodes available in the pane, on the pane. We have a stack pane that places the nodes on top of each other. It's like a stack. I think you have studied the stack. This is a stack. Put all the components one above the other. That is the stack pane. You have the flow pane, which put the components either row by row or column by column, in a column or in a vertical or in a horizontal positions. We have a grid pane which put the nodes in a two-dimensional grid, which like rows and columns. We have a border pane which put the nodes top, right, left, bottom, center. We have the H box, place the nodes in a one row or in one column in V box. Fine. Let's talk about a flow pane. A flow pane arrange the nodes in a pane horizontally from left to right or vertically from top to bottom in order in which we are going to add the components. Flow pane has following properties. It has a position, alignment, returns a position. It has the horizontal gap and vertical gap between the components. Fine. The orientation we can set to the horizontal or vertical. We want to place the components horizontal or vertical. Horizontal or vertical. Fine. So let us look into this. We have the constructors for flow pane. We have a default constructor which set the default options. We have to set the gaps, horizontal and vertical gaps between the components. We can set the orientation like vertical or horizontal, or we can have a constructor with orientation and gaps, horizontal and vertical gaps. Fine. Let's look into this program using the flow pane. We are using a flow pane here. Fine. And we set the alignment to the center. Nodes are placed in center of the grid pane. The flow pane. We set the horizontal gap and the vertical gap to the 6 pixels. Fine. We add all the buttons here. There are 5 buttons created here. All 5 buttons are added, or you can directly add like this. Fine. Now in the scene, you set the root, that is the pane object. Fine. Set the title, set the scene, show, launch. Okay. Now for this, we need to import the what is called the layout. Fine. The layout. So it is here. Let us look into this program, multiple stage demo program. Here you will see the flow pane here. Okay. Setting the horizontal gap, vertical gap. This needs a layout. We need to import the layout. Fine. So from the scene. So in our program, you can just say, like, for example, import JavaFX dot scene dot layout dot star. I'll put all layouts here. Fine. We need to create a flow layout here. So for example, let's say flow layout root is equal to new flow layout, the default one. Okay. I think sorry, flow pane. It's not layout. Flow pane. Flow pane. Okay. Now you can set root dot h gap to 6 pixels and root dot set vgap to 6 pixels. Okay. Now the root dot get children's dot add the node. Okay. I'm adding button bt. Okay. Okay. So I'm adding now here the button to the root. Root is a flow pane. Fine. Now in the scene, instead of button, I'll put the root here. Fine. Okay. So this is what we are doing here. Add the children's, add all. Now we are adding text and all. Fine. I'm just adding here what? A button. Fine. And then setting the root on the scene. Then it is the title, set scene, show and launch. Okay. Now let us run this one and see the output. So you can see the button here. Not covering all the area, but it is a button over there. Fine. So with this one, you can see that, okay, we have one button, we added one button. You have another things you need to add, like for example, I have another button bt cancel is equal to new button of cancel, and I can also add that button root dot get children dot add of bt cl cancel button. Okay. Now you can see two buttons, one after the other, and you can see the gap here. That is the gap what we are setting. Fine, the horizontal gap and the vertical gap. Okay. You can increase the gap here by increasing this number. You can increase the gap in between them. In between the gap, this gap, you can increase it by increasing it. Okay. Omar. Yes, Omar. Yes, Omar. Do you have any question? Omar, please. Do you have any question? Omar, can you hear me? Okay, till here his question. We'll come back to our discussion. So what is happening here is we are creating 5 buttons here by using a loop. Fine, and we are adding all these buttons. Okay, and then we are displaying them on the screen. Fine. So you can also do this. You can put different objects. So for this program, you can see this output. Fine. All these buttons are places one after the other, and okay. Okay. We can set the text of the button. You can have the set text button. Adding the buttons, components to the flow pane. Okay. Setting the gap. Fine. The horizontal gap 5 pixels. Okay. And then adding the button to second button here. Then setting the pane on the scene. Set the title, scene, and call the launch. Okay. Root.getChildrens.add button. See, this getChildren method returns a list of methods. Okay. And to that you want to add another component, another node. GetChildren returns a list of nodes. To that you add another node using an add button. Fine. Mahmoud Tariq has a question here. Mahmoud Tariq has a question here. Where did the launch method come from and the main, and what does it add means here? Fine. Now basically this launch method is from the application class. Launch method is from the application class, which is inherited from the application class, and these arguments are nothing but the arguments what you have in the main method. Fine. Of course, it is a dummy argument. It does not take any value. It's a dummy argument. But we need to pass in this string array arguments to the launch method as its property. We are not passing any value to that. As we need to add it's a dummy argument, okay, with no value, with a null value. That is we are passing, and it is coming from here, from this place. Okay. Clear, Mahmoud? Okay. We also have other panes. We have grid pane. So grid pane places the objects in a form of grid. In a rows and columns. In a form of rows and columns, where you want to place the things in rows and columns. Okay. Badr al-Khalili. Any question? Badr al-Khalili. Any question? Okay. So you can see the grid pane here. I'm sorry. The grid pane class over here, wherein which you have a grid pane, from the layout again. Okay. Set the alignment of this pane to the center. You can set the alignment as a center. Set the horizontal and vertical gap. Add new labels here. Okay. To the pane. Okay. And add the pane to the scene. Again, set the title, set the scene, call the show. Fine. So if you want to do this, so instead of flow pane, we can talk about grid pane. P capital, I think. So now the grid pane work in rows and columns. The grid pane works in rows and columns. Fine. And you can set the alignment of the grid pane to the center. I mean, you start from the center, keep the things from the center. You can set it, the alignment of the pane, like root dot set alignment of position dot center. Okay. You can set the horizontal and vertical gaps. You can set the paddings. Paddings are nothing but what is the places you give onto the right, left, up and down. Okay. So that is the paddings here. Flow pane works with, see, flow pane is whenever you want to place the components one after the other as it added. Okay, in horizontal or in vertical, that's flow pane is used. Okay, grid pane is especially when you want to place the objects in rows and columns. When you want to put the objects in rows and columns. Fine. So then we use the grid pane. Okay, when we add the new buttons to it, I mean new components, and we want to add it in a rows and columns, then we use the grid pane. Fine. So if I want to add here the component here for the grid pane, add, fine. So add here, say with the rows and the columns. I mean the column number and the row number. The first it goes the column number and then it goes the row number. Fine. If you want to add something like this. So like for example, I add here root dot add the node button bt. Okay, then the column index, the first column, okay, and the first row. Okay, so this is how it is added. And now if I want to add root dot add the node button clear with the column 0, row 1, column 0 and row 1. Fine. So it is added something like this. So you can see here now it is added how one after the other in the center. Fine. So it is first row, first column, second row, first column. It is like this. But in the flow pane, it is not like this. The flow pane goes in a different way. One after the other. It goes like in a different way. Let's say I'll create an object here, a flow pane, and show you like how does it work with the flow pane. fp dot set alignment center, and instead of adding to the root, let me add it to the add this to the flow pane. Okay. So fp dot get children dot add of the bt. Okay. Then fp the flow pane dot get children dot add of node dot btcl. Okay, and I'll set on the scene flow pane. Okay, so you can see here now how the flow pane places the objects. Of course, there is no gap in between. You can set the gap by horizontal and vertical gap, like fp the flow pane dot set v gap, vertical gap of 6. Fine. So this will give you the vertical gap. So since there is no vertical objects here, you can set the horizontal gap fp dot set h gap of 6 pixels. Okay. So you can see here gap of 6 pixels. But you say the flow pane keep the objects one after the other. But in the, if you talk about the root, that is the grid pane. The grid pane, it is placing the objects in rows and columns. Placing the objects in rows and columns. Sorry. So you can see that, okay. So it is up to your decision how you want to place the things. Yeah, the grid pane places the things in two-dimensional array, rows and columns, okay. Whatever the objects you create, for example, let me create a text field here. Text field tx is equal to new text field of hello. Okay. Plus, yeah, control dot star. Let me put it like this. So if I add now text field to the root is a grid pane. Add the text field tx, okay. Put in the first column in the first row, okay. I mean in the second row, first column. So now you see that the text field comes where? Here. Not here, here. Okay, it's not coming here because this is the second row, right? Second column. Fine, so it is coming here. Okay, so grid is used like, it depends like how you want to place the objects. There you can use the grid or you can use the flow pane. Find other panes, border pane, fine, as you wish. I mean, it's up to your need, like how you want to design it. Clear, Mahmoud and Asad? Okay. So, but remember that the first argument here after the object argument, the node argument, the first thing is column and then row. It is not row and column, it is column and row. Okay, you need to remember that because sometimes it is confusing. Like, what is the first? The node object and then the row or column. The first is column and then it is row. Okay, so it says first column 1 and row 1. Okay, so it is in column and row. Fine. Okay, so this is about the grid pane. So you can see the 5 buttons are placed how in the grid, like 0 0 the first button, 0 0 mean 0 column 0 row. Okay, so similarly, so you have 1 0, then 0 1 1 1 0 2 and so on. We also have the border pane. Border pane basically set the nodes or the graphical interface components in border style, like left, right, top, bottom, center, something like this. Okay, so it places the things in border. Fine. You can see the border here example. So set the top, right, bottom, left, center. Fine. So you put the things on these. I mean, what is left, what is right. Fine. So you can set the components on top, right, left, and so on. Okay. So you can see you can create a border, set the alignment, place wherever you want to place by using set alignment. Okay, or you can just say root.set top, left, right, center, bottom. Fine. So you can just simply say like this. If you want to create a border pane here, border pane BP is equal to new border pane. Okay, and simply you can add this BP dot get children dot add the node. Okay, so that will be added in the border. Fine. So it will be like okay, you can also set it, that is adding, you can set them like top, bottom, left, wherever you want by using set. Okay, so BT, okay, BP dot set top button. Okay, fine. So you can see on the top it is BT. Okay, okay, border pane dot set center BT cancel button cancel. Okay, so you can see in the center button cancel. Okay, you can set the alignment for this also. BP dot set the align. So it's no need for alignment because it is already setting the top and the border and the center. Fine. So you can set wherever you want in border pane, in the center, left, right. Fine. On the bottom. Okay. Okay. We also have this hedge box, that is, and the V box. Hedge box and V box usually put the components in horizontal or in vertical. Fine. Just you want to put all the buttons in horizontal, you can put it one after the other by using hedge box. Fine. Hedge box it takes hedge box does not take any argument, and the hedge box with spacing, how much space you want in between the nodes. Fine. And similarly, V box, we have the vertical box if you want to place the components in vertical. Okay, so those are about the panes. So you can use any pane. You can use any pane. So we'll talk about different panes here, right? You can use any pane here. Okay, so what are the different panes you have? You have a stack pane, you have flow pane, you have grid pane, you have border pane, hedge box, V box. Whatever the pane you want, you can use in your program. It depends on like how you want to place all the components in one place. I mean, in the application, how you want to place the components. Either you want to place it one after the other, you want to place it in grid form, you want to place it in a flow form. Fine. And many other options are available with these panes. When you start programming it, you find many things, you can make many changes in it, you can design it according to you. Yes, Mr. Asad, yes, it says it depends on the design, what the design you are looking for. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea, like, okay, you have the panes where you can set the components and use that pane in your to set. So you have that pane, can use. Now let us look into different components, the UI control components, that is buttons, text boxes and all. Fine. So frequently used frequently used UI controls are labels, buttons, checkbox and radio buttons, text fields, password field, text area, combo box, views, scroll bar, sliders. Okay. There are many components here. Here we have, right? Many controls we have. Okay, that is used. So it all under the node. Under the node where we have an controls. Fine. Then you have label, scroll bar, slider, text input. You have text area and text field. Under text field you have password field. List view you have combo box. Okay, under combo base. Under the button base you have buttons, check boxes, radio buttons. Label you have under the labeled class. Fine. So we use buttons, we use check boxes, we use radio buttons, we use labels, we use text area, we use password field, of course. We use text field. Fine. We use combo box. Fine. Many different components, depends on what is the need. Okay. So you can see different components here. Label means you can put something like this, a text, a label for any component. Text field, this is a text field where you can enter something. Radio buttons, you can group these buttons to select only one out of three. Okay. Check boxes, multiple selection. Buttons, left, right and all. Text area, it means multiple lines of text. Multiple lines of text is the text area. How to create the labels? By using the label class, name of the object with the label. You can put the label here. Fine. Now let us do from here. Creating label. How to create a label? Fine. It's very simple. Label LB is equal to new label of whatever you want on the label. Okay. For example, enter your name, or let's say for example name, something like this. Okay. Control star. I think I misspelled the label. Yeah, it's about spelling. Yeah. So this is a label. Now you have the label on the screen. Fine. Let me just take out these panes, different panes here. I'll just keep the grid pane here. Okay. Okay, so I have created a label here, labeled as a name. So you can also set the text of the label, like you want to change the text of the label, you can change it by using set text, label object dot set text. Fine. So, and you can also get the text of it by using get text. What is the text on the label? You can get it by using the get text method. Okay. One minute, please. Okay, fine. So you can set the label, you can get the label, fine. Button base and button classes. To create the buttons, fine, you can use the button class, button without label and button with label, fine. You can also set the text on the button, and you can also get the text of the button. What is there on the button? Okay. So buttons are created by using this button class. Fine. Button, the name of the object, new, the text on the button. What you want to place on the button? What is the text on the button you want to place? So this OK button is putting with the OK cancel, right? So I can see that, okay, I think I did not add this, right? Yeah, root dot add the node. Let me add the label first, label 00, okay, and then root dot add button bt OK on the 0 column, row number 1. Okay, so the button OK is here, and I click this OK button. Fine. Now you can set the button, text whatever you want here. For example, hello. So just to check the text on the button. Fine. So you can also set the button, the text bt OK dot set text. Set text of OK. So you can say that like from hello to OK. So now what we get is OK because we change it by using set. Okay, so you can set it like this. Fine. Okay. Text field. Text field is usually where we enter something. Fine. Where we enter something, that's a text field. So we can create a text by using the text field. So here we have a text field tx is equal to new text field of hello. So let me add this text after the label. Fine. It did not print cancel button. Now cancel button I did not add here. I did not add the cancel button still. If I want to add it, I will add it here. Root dot add of bt cancel in 0 column. Let me put it in column number 1 and the second column and second row. So it will come beside the OK button. So here OK and this is cancel. Okay. Cancel. Cancel. Fine. Is it clear, Asad? Okay. So we can create a text field by using text field. We can also set the text on the text field by using set text again. Tx dot set text of whatever the text you want to set. Let's say for example welcome. I want to change the text. Fine. I'll add the text here. Root dot add the node text field tx in the first column. In the second column in the first row. Okay, after the name. Fine. So here is the text name and here is your text OK and cancel. Fine. So that's a text field. Okay. You can set the width of the text field. For example, what is the width you want? Okay, by using column count. By using the column count. Now you see what is the width here. If you want to change this width, okay, of the text field, you can use this method. Set preference column count. Okay, for the text field. So I said tx dot set preference column count of, let's say you want 15 characters. This is in characters, okay? It is of 15 characters, like say for example 10 characters. Okay, so now a bit of small than compared to this previous. Okay, 5. So you can see now a bit small again. Okay, so you can change the preference, on this, whatever the column count you want. Okay, text area, of course, text area is multi-line text. It is multi-line text, right? So it is not single line, but it is multi-line. Okay, more than one line. Okay, so you can create a text area, for example, text area TA is equal to new text area. Fine. So I can set EA dot set reference column count to, let's say, 15 columns, and TA dot set preference row count 15 rows. Okay, and let me add it here, root dot add the node TA. Okay, and first column, second row, third row, sorry. So you see, this is the text area. Okay, where you have multiple lines of text, you can enter multiple lines of text. Whereas in this one, you can enter only one line of text, not multiple. Okay, here you can enter multiple lines of text. That is a text area. So there is a difference between text area and text box. Okay, check boxes, we can create a check boxes. Fine. See, basically it has some default. If you don't set the preferences, like for example in the text area or in the text field, we don't set the preferences, it has some default preferences. You can see that this is a default for text area. Okay, and this is a default for text. Okay, text field, and this is a default for text area. So it has some default. Whatever you want to set, you can set that. Fine. If you want to, you want a particular size, you can set that. Okay. Yeah, you can use the default one. Okay, the next one is checkboxes. You can create the checkboxes, fine. Like for example, creating checkbox. Just to go here. Checkbox M251 is equal to new checkbox of M251. This is M251 checkbox. I'll create checkbox M253 is equal to new checkbox of M253. Right. So we can add these checkboxes here. Let me take out this one. This takes some space. We add here root dot add of M251 to the let's say first column and the third row, and root dot add M253 to the second column and the third row. Okay, so you get the checkboxes here, 251 M253. Okay, so of course it is multiple selection. Fine. So you can check boxes are multi-selected. Fine. You can also check whether it is selected or not. Some particular by using is selected. Okay, this is selected returns true or false. If the checkbox is selected, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. Okay. Radio buttons, which is single selection from a list. Okay. You can create a radio buttons, like for example, like checkboxes. You can also create a radio buttons. Fine. A radio button. Let's say, for example, Java. Let's equal to RB1. Let's call it as RB1. Get a new radio button of Java. Then radio button RB2 is equal to new radio button of, let's say, C#. Now let me add these radio buttons here in place of checkboxes, or let me add it next. Root dot add of the RB1 and root dot add of RB2. Okay, so now you can see the radio buttons here, one after the other. Why it is? I need to change the column. Yeah, now you can see, but you see that it is selected multiple. There are radio buttons to be selected as single, right? One of the choice. Fine. Checkboxes, it is multiple selection. But radio buttons is not multiple selection. But how to make this as single selection? So it is very simple that you need to create a group, okay, and register every button with the group. Fine. So we made a group called toggle group. Fine. So I'll make a group here. You close this and make a toggle group here. Toggle group. Languages is equal to new toggle group. Fine. And use these toggle groups to add, to register the buttons, the radio buttons. Fine. So RB1 dot set toggle group of language and RB2 dot set toggle group of language. Okay, now both are in one group now. Fine. So now you can see that one of the both is selected. Not both are selected in one time because we register both in one group, whereas checkboxes are multiple selection. Fine. I said yes. Please go ahead with your question. You can just number the rows and columns with the numbers. I mean, with the numbers, you can use the more rows and columns. Okay, it's all with the numbers. Fine. So that's about the toggle group, right? Where we can group it, the buttons. Fine. Okay. So that's about some components that we can, place it here. Okay. And these components like buttons, text boxes, text area can be used here to create the graphical user interface. Now let us take this program of loan calculator, a loan calculator. Let's design this. To design this, what we have is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 labels. Okay. And then we have 5 text boxes and 1 button. 5 labels, 5 text boxes and 1 button. Fine. To design this and name it as loan calculator. Fine. So you can create 5 labels here by these names. Okay. Like for example, if I created here 5 labels here, label 1, label 2, label 3, label 4, label 5, or I can create an array of labels, okay, and name them. Fine. So either you can go like this, or we can create an array of labels, okay, and name them. Fine. 5 labels, and then we need 5 text boxes. Again, the same thing, you need text fields. Okay, 5 text fields. Okay, one after the other. So then we need a button called calculator. Fine. So here we have text fields, 5 text fields, and a button. Okay. Labels are created at the same time here. Fine. Another way, like how we create the labels. We add the labels. Fine. And uses the grid pen. It uses a grid pen. Fine. So to create this is very simple. I have 5 labels here and 5 text fields created. We can make it as private here also. I mean a global object. Text fields as global objects. Fine. Because text field has some data, so we are making it private. Fine. tx1, tx2, tx3, tx4, tx5. 3, 4, 5. Okay. And labels, same thing. We need a button called calculator. So I'll write a private button calculator is equal to new button of calculator. Okay. And let me take out all this check boxes and all. We have a grid pane here. We set them to center and horizontal vertical gaps. Now we add them. We add the label 1 first. Label 1 0 0 and then text 1 1 0. Fine. Then label 2 to 0 1 and text 2 to 1 1. Okay. Then label 3 to 0 2 and text 3 to 1 2. Then label 4 and text 4. 4 texts we are adding. Let's just test it and see. Yeah, we are getting it. Fine. We need to add another label, label 5. Add label 5 to row column and row number 4. That is 5th row. Root dot add the text 5 with the column 1, sorry, with the column 1 in the fifth row. Okay, so here it is. Fine. And what we need to name it: annual interest rate, number of years, loan amount, label, annual interest rate, number of years, loan amount, monthly payment, total payment. Okay, and text fields, we keep it blank here. Okay, because we don't want anything in the text field, we keep it blank. So I'm going to take out everything from the text field. We have a button, so I need to also add a button here. So I'll add root dot add the calculator button in the second column, row number 6. Okay, so do we get the design? Yes, we have the design that is in the center. Okay, all the data what we are going to enter here and do calculations on clicking. This is the design. Fine. Now the next question is, when I click this calculator, after entering some values, like for example annual interest rate is 1.5%, number of years 5 years, loan amount 5,000, and when I click on this calculator button, it should give me what is monthly payment, what is the total payment. Fine. So how to do that? That's the question here. Right? Design is okay. Till now what we did is what? Is designing the graphical user interface. Right? Now the next job is to implement the logic. How to do that? So that's inshallah we will take in our next meeting. I leave you here. Now what I want from you here is that you work on designing. In the next meeting we will talk about the implementation, the logic, how the implementation goes. Okay, I'll just give you a brief of it. Fine. In this case of designing an implementation, we need to have something called event-driven programming. That is, when we click this calculator button, when we click on this button calculate, like in this case, I click on button calculator or calculate. Okay, what happens? That is what the event-driven programming is. Okay, so there are two things here: procedural programming and event-driven programming. Procedural programming is like programs are executed in a procedural order, one after the other, line by line. Okay, we have seen this in all our programs what we did before. Okay, not selected codes are executed, but it goes in a procedural form. Event-driven programming is code is executed upon activation of some events. Like when you click this button, an event is generated. When you click this button, an event is generated here. That event is used to take the next action. What do we do? What we have to do in the next part. So an event can be defined as a type of signal to the program that something has happened. A button is being clicked or a text has been entered. Something happened in the graphical user interface. So either you enter something in a text field, that is an event is generated. You click on a button, an event is generated. Whatever you do on the graphical user interface, that I enter something here, let's say for example 1.5. When I enter this 1.5, an event is generated. Number of years 5. When I enter 5, an event is generated. Loan amount 5,000, an event is generated. When I click this calculator, an event is generated. So whenever something happens in the graphical user interface, an event is generated. So event generated by the external source of actions like button click, mouse movement, mouse clicks, keystrokes, whatever it is. These are called the events. We have different events. We have the action events, mouse event, key events, window event. Fine. That comes from the event class, which is under the event object. Fine. So we'll see inshallah in the next class how to handle these events, how to create them and how to handle these events in our coming meeting. Okay. So for today, inshallah, we'll stop here for today, and I ask you or to go and design this user interface by yourself. Design it, get it ready. Inshallah, in our next class, we try to program it by using event handler. Okay. The next class will be the next week, inshallah on Sunday. But if there is an extra class, we will inform you by email, okay, on your university email, inshallah. Okay, any questions for today? Yeah, we will explain you, inshallah, the TMA. Inshallah, we will see to explain the TMA also. After we finish the event-driven programming, inshallah, I will explain the TMA also. But for now, I think you can start working on the TMA because it has different parts. Okay. You're welcome. Any question? Students online, any question? No attendance here. This week you have 3 classes. As you see on the screen, you have 3 classes this week. Okay, but same things will be discussed. You have today you have a class. Okay. Of course, from 4 to 6, there are some students who has a class. So we'll not take it. And tomorrow you have a class. Okay. Then on Wednesday you have a class. Okay. We have no idea still about the MTA. No idea still about the MTA exam. Whether there will be exam or not, we don't know. Okay. See, coming to this TMA, you have the TMA. It is up to first 9 sessions. Up to this graphical user interface. That's why we need to complete the graphical user interface before. Okay. So first, it can 3-phase project. Please solve all phases. You need to submit the files. Okay. A copy paste of all Java codes in a Word file. A snapshot of different runs of the program. If the code does not completely work, some description to explain why it does not work. and answer the questions below. You have two submission links. One is a regular submission where you upload the zip file of your Java project, and one Turnitin link where you have to upload the Word file in which you copy all the codes. Okay. It's fine. You need to have this declaration in your homework, in the TMA, that you are not copying the contents. Fine. Now it is a three-phase project. So you can say that there are three phases here, okay, that you have to follow. Okay. Now in these three phases, I believe you have the classes. You need to create the classes, and do some inheritance and all. Okay. I think you need in the final phase, you need to create the graphical user interface. Okay. Now for now, till now, you can start working on phase 2. I think you already started. If I believe you already started the phase 1 and phase 2. Now the only remaining phase 3 is that you need a graphical user interface. Okay. So inshallah we will see, and we will try to cover up this by next meeting, and you can do that also. Okay. Any more questions? See you next week, inshallah. No attendance, Muhammad Kuzi. No attendance. We don't have attendance. Okay. Any more questions? Assalamu. Okay, you can leave now. Thank you. Thank you all.